And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
Mary writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Johnny, I love the saying, Hell's Angels with pimples. Sums it right up.
Well, that's pretty much what we're dealing with in the South Bay.
You know, in Carlsbad, they are going to be voting today on age limits for e-bikers because maybe 12-year-olds shouldn't be in charge of what's de facto a motorcycle.
Now, are they going to put a limit on the top end, too?
You mean?
Or if you're a certain age, we don't want you riding those bikes, too, because if you fall down, you're going to break a hip?
Might be a good idea.
Because, you know, Joe Biden kept falling off the bicycle.
That he did.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I don't trust myself on one of those things either.
I only trust myself on a Peloton, and that's because that thing's going nowhere.
Yeah, if I can put a stationary bike in front of the TV, that I trust myself with.
You know you're not going to fall over with that one.
No, but if I'm watching Chris Lee Knows Best and they hit me with something really shocking, I might. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we've spent a lot of time on this program talking about the summer slump in Sin City, where tourists aren't going to Las Vegas to gamble like they used to. Well, as it so happens, it's not just a problem over the summer. It's carrying over into the fall and winter, too.
People are still not going to Vegas for a lot of different reasons, parking being one of them. But another one, Johnny, that when you hear it is going to speak so close to your heart. For more, we go to News 3 Vegas.
Back on this Monday night, so our summer tourism slump, it's managed to linger into the fall and winter months, and it's safe to say there are a lot of reasons for it. Tonight, our Steve Wolford continues his in-depth reports on tourism. You have some interesting takes from visitors and even some locals, along with insights from a popular Las Vegas influencer, and Steve joins us live near the Strip tonight with some of the this is what I like, this is what I don't like tonight.
Yeah, we kind of went through that list, Dana. It was probably about 3 weeks ago. Bill Hornbuckle, the CEO of MGM Resorts, kind of admitted that the resorts on the Strip had lost control of the narrative. They had sort of lost touch with consumers.
You don't say.
And we took calls for an hour. We've done that on multiple occasions of why people stop going to that city. It's not like we're trying to find the answer to a question that's just not doable. We know it is the charging for parking. It's the resort fee. It is the celebrity restaurants causing the food prices to go through the roof. All of those things combined, the heavy minimums on the table games on the Strip, you're chasing your customers away, and there are alternatives who are now welcoming them into their arms.
By allowing the cost of a bottle of water go to about $12.
Oh, we got to do that story at some point, Johnny. When there's a slow day and it's December, there's going to be slow days. This guy on 3 Vegas, he walked up and down the Strip and went to every casino to see how much a simple bottle of Aquafina was.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, look at what a cup of coffee costs.
So we thought it would be interesting to talk to some of those people who control the narrative. We're talking about international tourists, out-of-state tourists, locals, and a popular social media influencer, Heather Collins.
I don't know who she is, but I guarantee she makes more money than you and I combined.
Oh, that I can guarantee.
I feel like people are still complaining about the prices of Vegas and like what's going on when they come here as tourists.
We met up with Heather Collins, also known as Raised in Vegas on social media, at the Las...
All right, I'll give her a follow. That sounds fun. She's probably got some stories. Can you imagine growing up in that town?
Oh, I think anyone who's actually from there has a relative at the bottom of Lake Mead.
At the Las Vegas sign to get her thoughts on the tourism environment in Las Vegas, what she's hearing from her followers, and her reaction to comments from some of our visitors on the Strip.
You know, always pricing is a consideration.
And it didn't take long for Roderick Lee, who visits several times a year from Canada, to agree with Heather that prices are still high.
How have prices changed through the years since you've been here?
They've gone through the roof drastically in the last year. or so.
Another point of contention Heather is still hearing about.
The parking on the strip.
That's the one that I think hurts the most.
Yes, because the parking has gotten worse. Not only are they charging you for parking, but I've never seen a city without a working escalator. You go to Las Vegas and you expect to get on an escalator in a building that you're paying to be in, and none of them work, which is always the case. That upsets you. And then, now that they have the hockey arena there, they have the football stadium there, they have the baseball stadium going up, it's not like there's enough parking on those properties to provide space for everyone who's attending events there. What happens is when there's an event at the football stadium, everyone parks at Mandalay Bay. Everyone parks at Luxor, Excalibur, MGM, all of those hotels on that side of the strip. Well, if you're staying there, that means you're in competition with those people for those parking spots. So they're charging you to be there, and then it takes you an hour to find a spot.
I almost forgot that they're building the baseball stadium.
And we still got our Oakland A's, baby.
No, you don't.
Locals.
The parking on the strip is terrible. I think it is the biggest deterrent because the moment you're on property, you're already getting charged $25.
And
That's $25 you could have gambled away on roulette.
Yeah, you could be in the bonus on the Buffalo.
And for locals Jeff and Priscilla Hatch, also a turn off.
That you have to pay to park. Sorry. That's mine.
That seems to.
It's, the days of the free parking you got, and just the price gouging as well.
Wasn't the whole point of this town that everything's cheap, so you feel like you're living luxury and you throw away your life savings at a craps table?
By the way, I figured out a loophole on how to avoid paying for parking on the strip.
How's that?
I'm not going to say it on the air because then it'll be over. But let me just say, you can figure it out too.
Please drive inside.
But parking and prices aren't the only turn-offs we heard about from visitors. For this couple from Lithuania, among our valuable international tourists, it's the smell of pot.
John?
That is so true. It upset me so much in California when we legalized it. And as soon as we legalized it, every square inch of Las Vegas now smells like marijuana.
What's happened to the good old days where every square inch of Las Vegas smelled like tobacco?
Yeah, it's supposed to smell like Lucille Ball's lungs.
For this couple from Lithuania, among our valuable international tourists, it's the smell of pot.
Horrible.
Because it's illegal in our country.
And we don't like it.
We don't like it, and we don't smell this smell all the time in our country. So
Lithuanians are looking down on us dirty Americans and our stinky weed.
It smells like a skunk just sprayed you.
Does this give you flashbacks to your old apartment?
Oh, yeah, where the neighbors smoked it 24/7.
Permeated through the ducts.
My living room smelled like a Grateful Dead concert.
So is that something that might keep you from ever coming back?
maybe yes.
Probably.
But there are still...
Does Circus Circus smell like pot?
No, it smells like desperation.
But there are still plenty of turn-ons that Las Vegas can lean into 2026 to drive our tourism numbers back up.
I will say, the last couple nights after F1, the casinos have been busy. Like I was at Bellagio, packed, couldn't even walk within the lobby area, which was surprising.
And it's much more than F1.
I mean, there's a lot to do. I mean, there's a lot of shows, a lot of celebrity chefs, a lot of, we're going to go see the Sphere next month. And
It is now a
Boy, that guy just spent his whole life savings in 10 seconds.
Let me tell you something. The Sphere is a very, very, very impressive building to see a show in. I've seen two. I saw the Backstreet Boys perform there, and I saw a showing of The Wizard of Oz. But even to see a movie in that building, it's like $200 per ticket, which is nuts.
For a movie?
For a movie that was released, how many decades ago?
Almost 90.
now a sports city.
So that's good.
it's great. I mean, like I said, being born and raised here, we had no teams growing up. UNLV Rebels were our home team.
It's a lot of noise.
But now you're going to have the A's. Woo!
Not if Shang has something to say about that.
Oakland Bees!
A lot of people. It's beautiful, it's warm.
I like the shows. I used to come when Celine Dion was the regular.
But is
Okay, I want to hang out with that guy.
You know, I've had tickets to see Celine Dion 3 times, and she's canceled all 3 performances.
I used to come when Celine Dion was the regular.
But is the entertainment enough to turn the corner?
I think a lot of people are coming to Vegas right now for like the Sphere. We have unique entertainment. So I feel like they're still going to have to come here to get these unique...
Whoa. You're playing a movie that was made 90 years ago? I don't know if I would call that unique.
All right, now I have to look this up to get this exactly right. How many years ago was Wizard of Oz made? It was made in 1939. So what does that make it? 85 years old? I can't do math.
Well, Judy Garland's been dead for decades, and she was the kid in the movie.
It's an 86-year-old movie.
So I feel like they're still going to have to come here to get these unique experiences like F1 and the Sphere. But is that
Also, if you have a TV, you can watch both those things.
But is that enough to make them really want to come and spend thousands of dollars?
And that is the million-dollar question. Heather, by the way, is one of the advocates of seeing Las Vegas go back to the future by bringing back the comps. Remember those? In her words, making everything...
Wait, you don't get comps anymore?
You do, but it's not like the old days. In the old days, they took care of everything. And now you log into the MLife or whichever company it is that you're affiliated with. And on some nights, they'll give it to you for free. On other nights, they'll charge you a certain portion of the cost of the room. And they still charge you all the other bells and whistles, the taxes, the resort fee, all those things.
In her words, making everything cheap again so tourists can gamble away all their money because they got a free vacation. Reporting live from the Strip corridor, Steve Wolford, News 3. Back to you.
Exactly. I mean, we all get that, I think. I think it was so cute in your piece there. I think you were taking pictures at the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign for a couple down there. I love that. Steve pitching in.
That's what we do.
I know. And
I think this market has fun. Literally every story on this station is, how expensive a burger is in Vegas, how expensive a water bottle is in Vegas. It's a good time.
And hospitality. Are we hearing anything on the corporate side about Las Vegas returning to that so-called nostalgic business model?
Temporarily, we're going to waive resort fees.
And then we're going to jack them back up when you start paying attention to something else.
Well, as a matter of fact, Heather said that Circus has just gone back to old school bingo where they use paper.
Okay, that's got to be a scene.
Can you imagine what that crowd must look like?
Playing paper bingo at Circus in 2025.
Did I ever tell you that when I was 5 years old, my parents took me there and we ran into Michael Jackson?
Oh, really?
He's great with the children.
No computers. They use like the old days. Also, I was talking to Ryan Growney, the general manager at the South Point. He told me that they lose a ton of money on their buffet, but he has absolutely no...
Is that the one where as you're driving into Vegas, you get the advertisement $7.99?
I think it is. It's the first big one once you get to town.
But he has absolutely no intention of ever seeing it go away because he says their customers love it. And I asked him, what's in it for South Point if you guys are losing so much money on the buffet? He didn't say anything. He just pointed to the slot machines.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know.
Well, and outside of the Strip, it seems like that's how Vegas still works. You have a lot of affordability if you don't want to be on the Strip, but the whole point of people traveling to Vegas is they want to go to the Strip. If you just want to go to some random casino, I'm sure you've got tribal casinos in your state, or you can go to a boat in Laughlin.
There's a tribal gas station not far from my house where I can gamble at the gas station.
Okay, how many times have you done that?
I do not let myself step foot in there.
Because that would be the end?
I would end up in a meeting.
Trying to get people in the door. Isn't that what it's about? Yeah,
Exactly.
I get it. All right,
Exactly.
Steve. I love that piece. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
So there you go. The tourism slump in Las Vegas is extending through the winter because it's still unbelievably expensive to go there and shove a bunch of money in a slot machine.
Could you live in Las Vegas given all of the opportunities to gamble?
No.
If I lived in Las Vegas and every time I'm waiting for my car to be washed or I'm at the Albertsons waiting for a prescription at the pharmacy and I look over my shoulder and I see an Ultimate X machine there where I can play 10 hands of poker, I would have a lot of problems real fast.
You know, I used to take a lot of 2-day trips to Vegas. And once I took a 3-day trip to Vegas. And that third day, I was sick of it.
My problem wouldn't be that I would get sick of it. My problem would be that I would like it too much. Especially the video poker. That's become my new favorite one.
Well, that is one of the slowest ways for you to lose money. You know, if you're going by a quarter at the time.
I do feel like I'm cheating on my Buffalo, though, when I play the Ultimate X. But you can play 10 hands, and it moves so fast.
All right, what's the number? 1-800-GAMBLER. You might need to get that thing going right now.
I just get in a trance, and I'm mesmerized. What are you going to do? Kay, you're on the John Phillips Show.
Hi, John. Hi. I own a property in Newport Beach right there on the boardwalk, and those kids on the bicycles are menaces. They're driving down the boardwalk at 20 miles an hour. They are knocking into people. It's supposed to be, where there's kids and everybody. And when I went to a city council meeting, all the people in the city council are kind of in on it. They don't want any regulations. They all have bicycles, and they say that it keeps the parents of these kids off the road, which is their ultimate goal. And that's really all it is. They don't want to have any regulations. And the neighbor next door was walking down the boardwalk, but there was nobody on the boardwalk, and some lady who was renting an electric bicycle comes from behind him and knocks him down. And it was lucky for him that he was able to do like a somersault. I would have broken all my teeth.
I just don't understand that they have such strict rules on how old you need to be to legally operate a vehicle and what tests you have to pass and how many hours you have to have in the car and on and on and on and on and on. Yet, if you're talking about an e-bike, you're sharing space with pedestrians, and it's anything goes.
Some of the riders are really young. There's a program out in front of a park, and the kids show up early in the morning, and they're like 8 and 9 years old, and they're all on e-bikes, all of them. And the ones that are really bad kids, they rode through a local donut shop on their e-bikes, rode through one door and out the other, and stole whatever they want, just took whatever they wanted and just rode right out. I've had kids throw firecrackers at my property, eggs. I think they're, I don't know if I've seen them taunt the police. The police you can't even catch them. They're so fast. There's no way to even go after them.
Well, it's certainly a problem, and it seems to be in the beach communities more than any other place, affluent beach communities, to be specific. Thank you so much for the call. And Randy, does our guy in Sacramento have anything to say about the donut shop being hit by the teenagers on the e-bikes that drive through the donut shop and take the donuts without paying them?
I bet you he does. Let me see what he has to say about that. Our guy in Sacramento who has gone through a lot lately.
Okay, you got glare on and you still have donut hole.
That's what I thought.
I love him.
800-222-5222 is a telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, with the end of the show quickly approaching, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. Maybe it's the Apple Podcasts app, you know, the little purple thing on your iPhone. Maybe it's iHeartRadio. I know, different company, but they have all the podcasts, so you can use that. Spotify, if you like that. You can do what George Gascon does in the middle of the night.
Do a Google on YouTube.
You can get the free KABC app. You got room on your phone? Probably. Get the free KSFO app. Get the free KMJ Now app because we do an hour on that station Saturdays at 2 in the Central Valley. There are so many easy ways to listen live to our radio stations and download all the podcasts. And you can listen to these podcasts no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing your workout routine, you're doing your grocery shopping, when you're driving in the car. Just be careful to not get distracted and be stopped in someone's bike lane.
Get on the bike lane! Let's go to Mary in Manhattan Beach. Mary, hello.
Hi, John. Thank you for taking my call. Okay, the thing about this, I've lived here, I'm a fourth generation with these invisible parents with these little kids that are on these bikes. This all started after COVID, and I don't think that parents know how to parent their kids these days. I have 3 boys. I would be livid. Plus, I'd never give them one of those bikes because, as you said, like the exercise, why are they on these bikes? They need to run around. They need exercise. They need to be raised as good men in the future. And they were robbing stores downtown Manhattan Beach. They're now beating people. This poor man was walking home with a pizza. And you said something like he turned a different direction. I don't know what that means. I don't understand. You don't touch other people.
Nope.
And they're laughing about it, thinking he was dead. These kids need their parents. Where are their parents? Get off the tennis and pickleball courts and parent your children.
You know what we could do if we wanted to get these kids off these bikes?
What?
Require insurance.
Well, you know what? They shouldn't be on the bikes anyway. They're electric. These little crappers go in and out of, they weave in and out of. One of my youngest sons just took his driver's test. He didn't pass until the 3rd time. These kids don't even have to take a test to ride these things, and they ride them like they're on Harleys with pimples, which I found hilarious.
Yeah, the way to get them off the bikes, because the government is ill-equipped to deal with it once they break the law. If they attack someone, if they loot a donut shop, whatever, when you catch them and you go, okay, they're 13, the government is handcuffed in terms of what they can do with a 13-year-old. Ultimately, as you correctly described, it's on the shoulders of the parents to make sure that their kids behave. And if the parents will not do it, yes, and if the parents will not do it for whatever reason, then we just need to make it real expensive for them, because then we'll get on their radar. And if suddenly they have to start throwing their kids on their insurance policy when their kids are 12 years old, they're going to say,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
We don't want to do that. That's expensive. We're already paying through the nose for our insurance, and we're worried we're going to get kicked off our homeowner's insurance. So let's go ahead and make them feel the pain.
Well, the thing is, too, is half these kids don't even have a light. They don't know how to ride, or a mirror at night. You can't even see them at night. And it's like a little bee, swarm of these black things you can barely see. And there's no lights on these bikes. There's 0 mirrors. They don't know even how to do the old school, put your arm up to go left or, straight to go. It's insane. And
now little gangsters in Manhattan Beach. We're like, what are you doing?
That's correct. And again, you don't have to be in an automobile to injure a pedestrian if you hit one. And there is a specific skill associated with riding those bicycles. And if you want to be a pedestrian when you want to be a pedestrian, and you want to be a car when you want to be a car, and you want to live in both worlds, there's a certain amount of risk that you assume when you do that. And if you're 12 years old, do you really understand that? And the answer is probably no. And I know how difficult it can be to drive these alternate forms of transportation because I'm no longer allowed to drive the golf cart by my golf partner.
My husband would love that.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate that.
I'm not surprised.
You get stuck in thick sand once, and all of a sudden you're branded for life.
I've seen how you drive an actual car. Not surprised about the golf cart.
Let's go to Bill in Santa Rosa. Bill, hello.
Yes, hi, John. Hi, Randy. I'm a courier. In fact, I'm talking to you on the road right now in Sonoma County, and I see these bikes everywhere at 40 miles an hour going down the sidewalk, believe it or not, and not just kids. I see adults doing this, too. And to me, the whole thing is a simple solution, and it's this. There was an evolution of a vehicle that was driven by horses called a horse and buggy, and it evolved into a internal combustion engine vehicle called an automobile. Then that internal combustion engine evolved into an electrified vehicle. Now, because it became electrified, did not exempt it from being a licensed motor vehicle, requiring all of those issues that it takes to operate one. Well, the same thing is true with a bicycle. It was human-powered, then it became gasoline-powered, and then now electrified. That doesn't change it from becoming a motor vehicle. The same thing with a scooter. There's the foot-powered scooter, then it became a motor scooter. So to me, you must require a licensed vehicle to operate it on, require it to be a licensed vehicle on the road. And as you just indicated a few minutes ago, requiring insurance, requiring licensing, requiring a proper lighting, all of that stuff. That immediately eliminates the kids from being able to operate them. Period. Has nothing to do with the parents getting involved in it, although the little brats need to have the crap slapped out of them. But it can be, the whole situation can be resolved that quickly and that easily, in my opinion.
I think you're right. And I think that certainly is something the state can do well. The state is very good at regulating things. In fact, we're over-regulated in the state of California. But this is something where the law has not caught up with technology. And if they live to regulate us to death, at least regulate the things that need to be regulated. And this certainly falls under that umbrella.
Yeah, well, explain to me why a Chevrolet gasoline-powered vehicle is required to have all of those requirements we just talked about, and the Tesla is electrified and requires all of those things too. So it just seems to me that it overlaps perfectly, and that should be an open and closed situation.
Particularly if these bikes go 40, 50 miles an hour. If I see a bicycle going 40 miles an hour, we better have a juiced up Lance Armstrong on top of it.
Yeah, down the sidewalk, for God's sake.
Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate that. Let's go to Andy in Torrance. Andy, hello.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, I had an experience where I live in Torrance, above Torrance Beach, and I was going down Calimere, and this kid's doing a wheelie in front of me, and he won't let me pass. Every time I try to go around him, he swerved in front of me. If I was a crazy guy, I would have run right over him after a point. So I called the Torrance Police Department. I got the kid on film. I said, I'm here at this intersection. Can you send a car over? Well, there wasn't a car around. But I told the cop, what you need to do, you arrest him, you take him back to the station, and you give him a wood shampoo. You know, you just take out the baton and whack him a couple times. But, yeah, it is a motor vehicle. It is a motorcycle. So That's what, it's aggravating. And Mary is right, the lady from Manhattan Beach. She wouldn't give kids one. Let them pedal. These things cost north of $1,500 each. And they are spoiled. Anyway, that's
and
what
kids have a lot of energy. You need to go out, you need to exercise, you need to get rid of that energy. And riding a bike is one way to do it. If suddenly you just give them a fancy new electric motorcycle, they're not getting rid of that energy, and they're going to find other ways to do it. And terrorizing the rest of us is how they're doing it.
Well, I live right by South High, so I see kids either walking or an electric bike. There are no bicycles going to that high school. The kind you pedal. I guess they'd feel like Fred Flintstone if they had one. But anyway, yeah, it was good talking to you. Take care.
All right. Thanks for the call, sir. Let's go to Billy in Huntington Beach. Billy, hello.
John, Randy, how you guys doing today? Yeah, it's crazy down here, man. The way I have to get out of my house, I got to sit there and I have a gate and it goes to the sidewalk. These suckers are coming down your sidewalk 10 miles an hour or something like this. But then we also have them coming down. I just don't understand how they sit there. They're in the traffic lanes. And there's like 5 or 6 or 7 of them. They're doing wheelies. They're popping wheelies. A lot of times they'll come down. And there was a few times where they were going on the sidewalk and they smacked some guy in the head walking down the goddamn street. You don't call them, they're just groups of little pieces of junk, but it's annoying. And like I loved your last caller, and it's a motor vehicle. They should sit there, and they need to sit there and take 16 years old, and should have us sit there and take a test for it.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. The state of California is broke yet again. With more details on that, here's Mr. Randy Wang.
$18 billion in the hole. That's going to be one of the headlines that every single person running for governor is going to have to deal with. With all the things they're promising to do if they become governor, how are they going to do any of them when they're $18 billion in the hole? Little D. It's actually a little B. For more, let's go to Fox 40 in Sacramento.
Now to California's budget worries. In the coming year, the state is projected to face a multi-billion-dollar deficit. It is one of the top issues that state lawmakers will start to address next month when they return to Sacramento from winter recess.
Hey, wasn't this last legislative session supposed to be the affordability year?
How'd that work out?
Not so great.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
They did pass another plastic bag ban.
Great.
Thanks for joining us tonight. For Fox 40 News at 5:30, I'm Eric Harriman.
And I'm Nikki Lorenzo. Fox 40 Capitol reporter Eitan Wallace is a closer look at California's budget challenges and the action state leaders are calling for.
Yeah, leaders from both sides of the aisle acknowledge the state's budget situation is not in good shape. Both sides.
So why didn't we fix that last time?
Because they spend all of their time talking about Donald Trump.
Both sides stress difficult decisions lie ahead as the blame game has already begun.
The budget condition is weakened at this point.
California nonpartisan legislative analyst Gabe Pettick not mincing words about the state of the state budget. The budget is one of the most important parts of government because it determines how much California spends on key programs, everything from
and all the waste.
And there's a whole lot of that.
Everything from education to fire prevention to water storage.
What water storage?
There's no water in the fire hydrants.
But difficult fiscal decisions could lie ahead for the state after Pettick and his office released this report projecting California will face an $18 billion deficit in the coming fiscal year and a $35 billion deficit each year after that through the end of the decade.
This would represent the fourth consecutive year where the state has faced deficits.
During this one-on-one interview, Pettick said state revenues are coming in higher than anticipated, but he also stressed the state is spending more than it's taking in. His recommendation to state leaders?
Really reducing the level of ongoing spending.
Oh, we can't do that.
No. Not with a 2/3 majority. No one is going to say no to them.
Well, and a lot of that ongoing spending is things like labor contracts and things like the giveaways that go to the teachers union, the people that put these people in office. You think they're going to get cuts?
No chance.
And or increasing the level of ongoing revenues.
He says that could include a combination of additional taxes, borrowing, or cuts.
Well, I will say this. If Gavin Newsom is truly going to run for president, he's going to do everything he can to make sure there are no tax increases this year.
No, that's the one good thing we have going for us. The bad thing is there are budgetary gimmicks that he can rely on to just kick the can down the road, which is what I assume he's going to do.
Well, and we're already seeing that. We're seeing a local sales tax initiative for the 5 Bay Area counties to bail out BART and Muni and the rest of them. And then you're going to see also on the exact same ballot statewide, a $20 billion bond measure to bail out all the metro agencies statewide.
And if there's any organization that doesn't deserve a bailout, it's public transit. They refuse to make sure their product is clean and safe, and they lie to us and tell us that it is.
You may want to consider not using the metro.
Or cuts. Next month, lawmakers will return to the state capitol from their winter recess and begin hearings about how to best address the budget issue. Around the same time, Governor Gavin Newsom will unveil his preliminary spending plan for the coming year. But already, the blame game has started. This from...
You know, this year in January, he was going to do one of those big, where it's a different press conference every day, get lots of attention, have a big headline. This is what we're focused on with this budget. This is what we're focused on with this budget. And then LA burned down and he had to postpone all that.
Gavin Newsom hates to be tied down by California issues. And if there's any daylight at all between him and the legislature that leads to friction, he especially hates that because not only is he dragged back into California subjects, it looks like there's no harmony at home.
This from Democratic Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas, arguing Trump administration policies are hurting California's coffers. Quote, Trump's cuts and tariffs are squeezing California's budget even harder. We must invest limited dollars on sustainable, vital essentials, healthcare, food aid, housing, and education.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the program when people in California were screaming bloody murder about the work requirements now associated with SNAP, saying they don't have the education or skills to be employed.
Oh, yeah.
GOP Huntington Beach State Senator Tony Strickland responding.
Only in politics can you blame someone else for a job that you don't do well. California doesn't have a revenue problem. It's a wasteful spending problem. We keep spending more than we take in, and that's just a basic math issue.
The California Department of Finance confirms Newsom is working on the budget and will finalize his proposed spending priorities in the coming weeks. In Sacramento, covering local news that matters, Eitan Wallace, Fox 40 News.
So there you go. We're $18 billion in the hole with no real solution but to fudge the numbers and have it be somebody else's problem next year.
And think about it this way. Because we've had an absentee landlord as governor since Gavin Newsom was elected, the people in charge of this process have been people like Dana Williamson. Nameless, faceless people who run the state like a mob boss. That's who gets to make these decisions. And whoever it is that replaced her is now going to be the one in charge. You don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. But that's the way it works in this dysfunctional state. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow at noon for another edition of The John Phillips Show.